What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Art of Suffering podcast with Dalton Darnell. Today, we have a very special guest. Mike McCave has joined us from Warrior Mission Ranch. This guy here has an incredible story, guys. I don't even know what to say. He sent me a video earlier to kind of get to know him a little better. And last weekend, was it last week? Weekend before last, maybe?
Yeah, I think last weekend. Yep.
We spent the weekend together. We had Mike actually hosted us at a clinic at his place up there in Elbert, Colorado, or close to your place.
Yep.
He had all his guys from the Warrior Mission Ranch come over, and I'll let Mike kind of tell you guys about that. So let's start there, Mike. Let's start with kind of what you got going on with those
Okay.
six dudes that you brought, and kind of what you're doing with those guys.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, first off, thanks for the opportunity just to be able to talk about this for sure. And it's all about service for me. And so after I left the military and it got hurt, so it ended a little early. God put it on my heart to do this mission. And really the essence behind it is there's two things guys I feel like miss when they leave the military, um, especially when they spend a certain amount of time together, is they miss the guys, the left and right of them, and they miss the mission, right? And they kind of call that their purpose. And we could talk about purpose a little bit more later. I got a little tangent I always kind of go on about that, but I would say those are the two things, right? Nobody cares or misses the politics. Nobody cares about anything else. It's really the mission, the higher cause of what you're doing, and the people you do it with. You just
Mm-hmm.
you bleed and you do whatever you can for the guy next to you, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, after my recovery and getting more really in depth into this way of life, I really saw a parallel between cowboys and where I came from in special operations, but specifically the military, like veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a job to do. It doesn't matter what the weather is. The guys got grit. Cowboys are probably some of them are probably more injured than most of us are when we leave the military, and they still get the job done. And so, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a program, and this is what I did years ago. I started this program. I wanted to create something that one, like I said, God put this on my heart to do and to continue to serve. Stop thinking about myself and all my pain and suffering and continue to push on with the mission. And that mission is to bring people back to Him and to bring veterans into this way of life. And um, so we do a 4-phase program with the guys. We have a few folks that are executive business coaches, life coaches, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and we run through them with 30 days prior to coming out to get them prepped. So we do physical fitness program. We do a personal impact statement, basically creating your why, and what drives you. How do you like to learn? Like all those type of things. I give them books to read. The whole program is based on a whole person concept. So we touch on mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. Then they come out to my place. So what you guys saw was the end of that week of their first week of riding. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we got them all day long from 6:30 in the morning till 8 p.m. And we start the day off working out together. We obviously take care of horses first, start the day working out, journaling, devotional time. I give them topics every day. We talk about a topic that I believe is number one important and also scriptural based. And and then we eat together, pray together. Then we get on horses and we're on horses all day long. We bring in guest speakers to talk to the guys from just different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
And on everything we try to do and teach here, not only is it about horsemanship, but it's about life, and I feel like that's the correlation that a lot of places, don't intertwine. That I feel like it belongs together, as far as teaching a guy about horsemanship, but yet those lessons in horsemanship apply to being a father, a husband, being a good friend,
Mm-hmm.
they're just so intertwined. And so when I'm teaching and sharing that and teaching guys really how to ride, really learn, how to cowboy, all the different aspects of that, life and biblical principles easily get intertwined in those lessons and allows the guys to heal and grow. And then it also teaches them a skill that most people wouldn't be able to walk into this way in life. It's hard to break into, I guess is what I'm getting at. So
Mm-hmm.
I just see it as a win-win, and then we take them to work in cattle ranches throughout the West. They put the skills to test. It's a win-win. The ranch gets free help. These guys learn, they grow. Those two communities, they blend so well together. The Cowboys just have so much respect for the veterans, and then
Mm-hmm.
guys like myself, like my heroes were, special. I wanted to be I was a Green Beret. I wanted to be a special operations guy, and that service was. I looked up to those guys as heroes, and I looked at Cowboys as heroes in a certain way because, again, it's just that mental determination of a job and that way of life that I respect so much. And
Mm-hmm.
so we do that, and then we follow up with helping them with jobs, internships, you name it. But we do 6 weeks of follow up on the back end. So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty great. So the six guys you saw, some of them have been riding for 5 days by the time they got
That's
to you. And
crazy.
yeah,
That's crazy.
we push them as hard as we can get them, as far as they'll go. So, but man, they had a great clinic. I tell you, I had a great time. Um, I love the way you teach. You teach a lot how I like to teach, right? You like to tell you like to people got to hear it. Some people are audible, some people have to see it done, and some people just have
Mm-hmm.
to feel it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I love to touch on all those things when I teach, and you did that out there really well. It's the first time I got a chance to meet you and work with you. I met your dad the year
Mm-hmm.
prior, but so you taught me a turnover, 12 hours, and I gave it a shot in the jackpot. Almost hit it. I was so close.
That's right. It was close. I think it
It
was
was
your
so
header's
close.
fault. It's always the header's fault, bro. Every
Let's go with that
time.
for now. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
It
it,
was
man.
great.
I
Yeah.
I really enjoy teaching. I think it's a lot of fun. I enjoy teaching people who, man, who get it. Who get it. There's people that come to every clinic who you can tell when they pick their rope up, it's probably not going to click today.
Sure.
I
Sure.
do really well intermediate to advanced. I don't, I can teach beginners, but I need a lot of time with beginners. I need a lot of one-on-one time, a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun for me to go to those clinics when there's a large portion of advanced intermediate guys that I can kind of, because here's the thing about a beginner, dude. You show them a little something and they need reps. They need reps
Hmm.
over and over and over. And I don't mind sitting there and watching each rep. That doesn't bother me. But you always feel bad at a clinic because you'll teach a guy a hip shot or a sidearm headshot, and you're like, okay, now go over there and throw it 100 times.
Right.
And in order to get their money's worth, I really kind of need to be sitting over there with them. But then you got all these intermediate advanced people behind them. It's like, okay, you kind of got to split time. And I don't ever want someone to feel like I'm just leaving them over there in a corner. But that's the
Hmm.
game, dude. That's the game
Oh,
is
no doubt.
reps.
No
So
doubt.
it works
Yep.
best when there's three of us, when we can
Yeah.
split them up the way we did.
Yeah, you guys did a great job as far as doing that and splitting up the groups. It's like teaching somebody how to trot for the first time, right? You could teach them how
Mm-hmm.
to do it, but you just need to get on the horse and put some miles on and
Yes.
really feel what that rhythm's like, right? So I
Yeah.
totally get the concept.
Let that hair get rubbed smooth off of your legs.
Yeah.
That's good for you. That's awesome, man. And
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
I'll say this, you know, it's always been I was in the military, but I didn't go do anything. I was just in the military. And Jeff asked me to come to that clinic because I was in the military. And I was like,
Hmm.
man, all I did was go to drill every other or every month or whatever. I never deployed. And I joined for totally different reasons, right? I really joined because I was a piece of garbage. And my wife, at the time, she was my girlfriend. She was like, "I love you, but you're a piece of crap. I can't marry you." And I was like, man, I need a life change. I just need something different. And I was 24 at the time when I signed up, and my brother just graduated OTS for the Air Force, and he he came over. OTS is where we live. That's where the base is that they do OTS. And so he comes over for Thanksgiving, him and all of his classmates, and they talked me into joining the military. And so I just went and signed up. I had to lose 30 pounds to get in. So I just pretty much quit eating for about a month, lost my 30 pounds and got in. And man, it was really good for me. Like I tell everybody, like
Yeah.
it was really
Yeah.
good for me. And I enjoyed like going through tech school and basic and all of those things. I enjoyed the camaraderie that you're talking about. You're in there in the trench with the guys, and I was the
Right.
oldest, so I was really able to kind of help some of those younger guys through that stuff. Like they were not very mentally tough individuals.
Mm.
But when I got to my unit, I hated it. And the reason
Mm.
why I hated it is because the Air Force is not like special operations. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's a lot of time wasting. It's a lot of squashing. It's a lot
Yeah.
of sitting around doing nothing. And I quit a job making $25 an hour working on F-16s to go cowboy because I was hunting what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Standing in the trench with a dude, grinding every day of your life to keep something alive. And your job actually mattered. If you cut corners, the calf dies. If you don't do your job, the calf dies. And
That's
that
right.
meant something to me. And I think that I've had conversations kind of like this with guys who do a similar thing to the Warrior Mission Ranch and that's what they all say, that it matters.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's life and death, literally. If you don't take care of your animal, it's going to die. And that means something to me. I don't know what it is about me, but that I like it. I want it to be life and death for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think that's the thing, right? It's like that. I'm doing this for a higher. I'm doing it
Purpose.
because it's bigger than me, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And if something relies on me, whether it's being in the military and this job, this mission accomplishment is non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
The guys to my left and right need to come home, you know. To me, that's like as real as it gets, no doubt, right? Same thing there, right? Again, mission accomplishment is non-negotiable. I don't really care, if a cow boss says, "Hey, Mike, go ride that fence. You better go to every single corner and be able to spit on it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just go to the hill and I can see it from the distance. It looks
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
principle, and that's integrity. I mean, that's what you're talking about. That's just pure
Mm-hmm.
integrity, and um, but it is life and death in a way because those calves, those animals rely on us to get up early in the morning when it's cold out, like
Mm-hmm.
we're in Colorado, winter just came back. It really kind of sucks outside right now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so woke up, broke some ice, and they got a drink, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I totally get what you're saying. It's
Mm-hmm.
that's that correlation, and I feel like that life outside the military, this way of life fits these guys so well because of those principles you're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so two things I want to touch on. I got one third thing, but we're going to touch on these first. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree with what you said about the principles of horsemanship applying to daily life. So I would say the greatest thing that ever happened for my sons is the day I started cowboying. When
Mm.
I started learning horsemanship principles, it changed everything about how I react to my wife as a husband, how I treat my children, how I teach them things,
Mhm.
pressure and release, right? Patience in the proper position, make the right
Sure.
thing easy and the wrong thing hard. Like all of these things are just like, oh, freaking game changers for kids.
Yeah.
Like it's
No
so,
doubt.
so good. And so
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about some of the principles that you're applying to help these guys kind of navigate life after the military. Um, that someone listening that understands a horse would go, man, that would really help my kid. You know what I mean? Like it's a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. You know, let me tell you, I'll give you one, two from an example from this last class. I thought,
Hmm.
um, so a couple things happened. Probably three things that I would say which speaks out. So besides what you're talking about, which are literally principles that are horse training principles, right? And
Hmm.
making that animal consistent. I think consistency is probably one of the most important things. But you know, one example is a guy was getting real frustrated. It always happens every class, right? All of a sudden the horse is like, "Hey, it's not listening to me. I'm trying to go this direction," and he's got a mind to go someplace else. Well, no doubt,
Hmm.
maybe you're asking the wrong way, So I always use it as a learning point where it's mindset. So you let that frustration build. Most guys, I think, like us, I always say at the end of knowledge, brutality begins because as soon as I run out of tools in my kit, my old man nature, my core will go to, I'm going to beat this thing into submission, right? I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
I'm going to make it
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Right.
And I feel
Uh,
I feel like a lot of us are like that in a way. And so working with horses, especially colts,
hmm.
I mean, you got to take a step back and be like, if this isn't working, if this argument keeps persisting, maybe I need to take a quick step back. Maybe I'm asking the wrong way. Maybe I'm approaching
Hmm.
the problem, and I need some more knowledge. I need another kit, tool to skin this cat, so to speak, right?
Yes.
One of the guys was having that moment, and it didn't happen. Where in a couple years past, the guy like got so frustrated, was starting to get to that brutality moment, and I used that as kind of a teaching point, and really just man, it sunk in so hard. But another guy, same thing. He's just getting frustrated. He's, it's kind of like, this damn horse. Well, I want to be like, you don't even know what you're riding right now. Because one, those are pretty nice horses. I
Hmm.
mean, there's some horses out there that want to hurt you. Like this is just a moment where he's just frustrated with you because one, you're asking the wrong way, right? And
Hmm.
so one of the things I talk about, and this is what I do with my daughter. My daughter is like, she's the apple of my eye. Like she is such a good kid at her core, and I tell her that all the time. I never ever I've heard it from so many of our friends. They call their kids monsters and all the rest. Well, guess what? You say that enough, that kid's going to be a monster, right? And
Facts.
so I tell them like, hey, mindset, right? My 13-year-old, right, is a 13-year-old. She does 13-year-old things that are not acceptable. Separate the behavior from the person. Separate the behavior from the horse. And you are riding the best horse out here. If you have that mindset that you're riding a jewel, $50,000 horse, you're going to treat it a little different than you think you're riding some kind of, dink, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
You know what I'm getting at, right? Where you got to be
Yes.
heavy handed all the time, as
Hmm.
opposed to just being light. How light can I be, And
Hmm.
so it acts up, separate the behavior, correct it, get it done. Don't hold a grudge. Go back to being you. This is the best horse out here in the field that I'm riding,
Hmm.
And if you keep that mindset and you separate the behavior from the person or the horse, I feel like for me, it was one of the lessons that my wife and I do with our daughter. And, we just actually had something a couple days ago where we just sat at the table and talked about corrected the behavior and went back to, honey, you are one, you're smart, you're intelligent, your heart is in the right place. We're just going to cut this out of our lives so that if it's not edifying, it's either coming from one place or another, and we're going to
Hmm.
identify it. If it's not edifying, well, what you put in is what's going to come out of that mouth, and we're gonna change what you're putting in right this minute, And was it a little bit of a battle? Sure, they all are. But then you go back to, you're the best kid. You're God's kid. I'm stewarding God's child right now.
Hmm.
Um, if you go back to that mentality, like that's what you are. That's your values. That's the core. All the other garbage, I'm sure you and I the same way. Every day it's a battle, right? You're gonna screw up, you're gonna mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get down on myself, pretty hard. But again, if my mind and my motive is to serve the Lord and do the best I can each day, I know I can go to ask for forgiveness and go back to work, because that's what he charged me to do, is continue to go to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just that separation, I feel like that was a huge lesson for some of the guys, especially with kids. And I use that example with my daughter when that happens with frustrations with horses, and they're learning how to ride, and
Yeah.
horses trying to figure them out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so that's one, I would say that pops up a lot, and everything else you talked about, I talk about as well. And the Colts, when we do like little cult starting with the guys,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, it's like little kids, right? You got to teach them the ABCs, and you can't blow their minds, and you can't give them too much where it's going to cause frustration. You got to,
Right.
you got to help them find the win,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to keep building on those wins. And then as they get older and as that horse gets more experience, you require more, but it's a process, right? It's just not nothing's ever black and white. And I feel like it's the same thing with kids. Like you teach them how to find that win, teach them what the right answer is, and show them that right answer,
Mm-hmm.
and you take it in steps, so yeah, I don't know if that
That's
kind of
one of the
explains it.
best. That's one of the best freaking horsemanship quotes I think I've ever heard, Mike,
Really?
is brutality begins when my knowledge ends.
Yeah,
That's
it's stuck with
insane.
me.
That's so freaking true. I mean, I'm talking
Yeah,
about, boy, I've gone to whooping and riding on some horses, just
yeah,
getting pissed, just getting pissed. And
me too.
hey,
I know.
if I'm being full transparency, which is what I try to do on this podcast, I've done that with my son. My
Hmm.
oldest son has caught some ass whoopings just because I didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
And I have done things totally different with my second one. But that first one caught, I died on some hills that I should not have died on. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, I
you're
I
gonna
get.
freaking do it. You
Hmm.
just cause you're gonna eat that pot roast because I said to eat that freaking pot roast. And like stupid, dude, just such a dumb thing to
I know.
do. And when I got done, like the brokenness of winning that fight was not worth the fight. So
No,
dumb. So
no.
dumb. Don't die on the
I
pot roast hill, team. Don't do it.
definitely don't.
It's
Definitely don't.
stupid.
Yep.
It's so
Yeah.
dumb. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. There's one thing, man. I do. So my kids are good. I got some good ones. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And they're little still. Um, but one thing I'll do is my mother-in-law, God, I love this woman to death. She is an amazing woman. She's very particular about her house. You understand
Mm,
me? And I'm
mm,
not at my house. So my kids kind of run amok and I don't care. Don't care. We'll
mm.
just clean it up. I'm not managing that. I like to have fun. And so when we go to Mimi's house, bro, she's got some ridiculous rules for 5-year olds, like
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
you got to have a damn good one for them to follow them rules. You hear me? And you
Hmm.
got to
Yeah.
manage it like tight. So what I do when I go over there, and it's two-part thing. One of them is it ain't my house, it's Mimi's house. But also the second part of this is Mimi will start backing off the rules the more I manage the rule.
Mm,
Like when I require excellence out of my sons at her
mm,
house because of the rule,
mm.
she's like, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." I'm like, "Well, you said." And so, dude, I'm talking about I am on these suckers like white on rice over there. Like,
Yeah.
like the rule, you're gonna follow the rule. And my kids are
Yeah.
like, "Dude, Dad, come on, man." I'm like, "Hey, no lip now. You shut that door when you come inside. You freaking do not eat anywhere but the table." Like all of these things that are very important at Mimi's house. And I'll tell you, when young men experience that leadership like that, a little bit of
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna be on you. Like When we walk in here, now I'm going to come to you if you ain't on it, And what that is they perfect themselves in that environment.
Mm,
And it's because and it's the same thing with a horse. Now, with a horse, it's your life in and through the horse, right? It's your
right.
self-discipline in and through the horse. Same with my sons. When I apply myself to the self-discipline of Mimi's rules, they apply themselves because I'm the
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
And it's the
Right.
same with your guys learning their horsemanship. Once they realize the key to a good horse is self-discipline. The horse is a mirror
Mhm.
of you. And
That's
if you
right.
can discipline yourself to be rigid and perfect and ask in a certain way and feel in a certain way and not get frustrated, you end up with a really cool product.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
our lack of ability to be self-disciplined that turns into a wreck. I mean,
No doubt.
and I can't even do it. Like I can do it with my sons because that's I relate more to that. Um, but when it comes to my horse, I tend to get frustrated. My dad is insane. His self-discipline is absurd. It
Mm.
I don't even know what to say because like when I get on his horses, it's not even close. It's like, that didn't come that this apple fell a long way from that tree, if you know what I'm saying. So that's really cool, man. That's really cool. Take me back to your rabbit trail on your purpose.
Yeah. Suit purpose. So, I think it's a lot of the military guys getting out just because I deal with that population right now. When we do an application process, that's like one of the things I hear the most is like I lost my purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say I didn't fall in that trap as well. Like after I got really hurt, I went from being a Green Beret, like I just felt like I was in my prime, like in my pinnacle where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, Mediocrity is like not okay with me at all, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
whatever I invest my time in, I want to be the best at, and
Mm-hmm.
and so, it took me 8 months to walk again. It took like 5 years to take a step without pain, shooting through my body, right? Just 5 years straight. And so I really was like, what am I worth right now? What do I do? I can't even do this. I can't even provide for my family. Like I was made for this job and now I can't do it. Like just ripped away, right? And so again, same thing. It's like if it's not of God, it's of somewhere else, right? And are you going to believe a lie or are you going to believe the truth, right? And so, for me, and what I tell the guys is as we build our purpose to impact statements with the guys and what's your why, if I can take it away from you, it's not true purpose. That's usually what I talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Purpose is something that cannot be taken away. So it's not an identity. It's not who I am. What I do, I mean, as far as like a job,
Mm-hmm.
it's not my purpose. My purpose is not to be a Green Beret. It's not to be a cowboy. It's got to be something higher that can't be taken away. And, for me, I feel like God uses like folks that can't do it themselves to almost prove the point it's of, that's his um grace. It's him, working through the situation because and everything I do, like there's no way I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not, you name it, right? To be able to do it completely on my own. And
Mm-hmm.
so, with this thing, this whole project that we started and what we're doing, and watching it grow, I know it's because of him, and my purpose is now to continue to serve, continue to bring people to him, in all my flaws and all my shortcomings. It's him, and so um, raising my daughter to know God, teaching her, a man can have strength and be hard as a like a turtle, can just have that hard grit to him, but I could be buttersweet with her, and she
Mm-hmm.
can see that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't care. I've got nothing to prove, it's just
Mm-hmm.
what I, it's what I want to be, and continue on. So yeah, just kind of going back to it. That's the one thing I feel like most people struggle with is, well, what's my purpose, and they look for it as in a vocation, and it's got to be more than that. The vocation is just what puts food on the table, what you wake up for, and you provide for the family, and you do, and hopefully you find and do something you love, right? So it's not work at that point, but purpose has just got to be that higher,
Mm-hmm.
calling. And yeah, so I mean, that's pretty important to me, just to identify and then look at it. I want to be, a man of honor, a warrior for God, accountability. All those things are, you know, things that mean a lot to me. What purpose is all about. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what do you
Do
think
you
about
know?
that?
Do
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
this means? Do you know what
I
this
can't.
means?
I can't see. Oh, the
The
310.
310.
No. Can you go through it a little bit? Yeah.
Okay, so we named the company this. It's Philippians 3:10. And Philippians 3:10 says, in one of the versions, there's like 40 versions of the Bible, but the version that we picked, it says, for my determined purpose is to come to know the King and share in his sufferings in order to be transformed into his likeness.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally regretted naming it that multiple times. Like, what were we thinking, bro? Come on.
Yeah.
But that's what this whole podcast is, dude. That's what it is that we're called to be here to know God and to suffer. And my afflictions, right? My autoimmune disease has created an environment where very, very similar to you, not in the same way by any means, but I can't do what I think I was born to do. Not in the same way. I can go teach a clinic. I can ride for a couple of hours, but riding 25-mile circles is out of my realm at this point in my life. I just cannot physically. I cannot physically do that anymore, and I've struggled really bad over the last couple of years moving back to Alabama and being here with this question, right? Like, um, I I'm not going to say by any means I'm the best roper on earth, but I'm a dang good one. God gave me an
Hmm.
ability to manipulate a rope, and I don't get to rope. I rope the dummy in the shop here for videos and stuff. Um, so am I a cowboy, right? Like, and I've come to the conclusion that, answering that question, are you or are you not a cowboy, right? If that was my purpose, I would be annihilated.
Hmm.
Um, And I believe that being a cowboy is a mindset. It's who God made you to be. The way you think, the grit you were born with, it has nothing to do with your abilities or what you do. It's the way you interact with the world, your environment, how you overcome obstacles. Very similar, I would imagine, to an operator. Uh, the way that your brain gets programmed through the training that you endured is like there ain't no mountain big enough, son. Like, we're here to do the job, and come hell or high water, we're getting her done. And I've been on a lot of circles in my day that required that attitude. Um so I completely, I was in a really low spot about a year ago, and my buddy Daryl called me, and I was like, man, this ain't working. I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do with this. Dad's sending me video that I'm editing of watching other people do what I love to do. It was not a good spot for me. And Daryl called me, and or we're talking on the phone, and he says, I'm going to let you go. I want you to go read Philippians 3:10, and I want you to remember why you're here. You go sit down with the king, and you have a conversation about why you're actually here, because your priorities are fucked up. That's what he said to me. And so I went and sat down, and I read Philippians 3:10, and I got to thinking about all the stuff, all the hopes and dreams we had in the beginning. And in the beginning, what we wanted to do was build a place where people could come and you walk with them and they experience Christ through the work. because that's how my heart was changed. My heart was not changed in no church pew. It was in the trench
Hmm.
with guys who loved Jesus, who made mistakes, who knew how to repent and kept it pushing. And
Yeah.
it opened my eyes to the fact that that I am deserving of wrath, but God saved me anyway.
Hmm.
That I am garbage, but he loves me and I am his. And that's what gives me purpose. That's what makes me worthy, is that I am the
Hmm.
king's. And that's what this podcast was born out of, was an attempt to sit down and share my sufferings like I would if a guy came and got horseback with me every day, to some fella driving to work. Hey, you're not the only one. We all deserve wrath. We all suck. We all make mistakes, but the king loves you, and you were sent here to be a freaking warrior. A warrior
Hmm.
for the king, a warrior in his army, a warrior for your children and your wife. And if you are not living up to that standard, God would like to tell you to get off your fat ass and get after it. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
to
no doubt.
motivate guys, like, let's go, dude. We're here to be freaking units. We're not
Hmm.
here to be lazy, fat son of a guns that sit on the couch and don't do our job. And
Hmm.
and I need somebody on the daily, which is funny. The podcast has really helped me with this because I can hear myself. Like I'm editing it and it's like God's speaking to me through what I'm saying to 2,000 people a month, and
Yeah,
he's like, get
sure.
up, go to work, get your mind right. And I don't mean go to work like your job. I mean, get up and play with your kids. I mean, love your wife. You know what I mean? I mean, do the hard things.
Sure.
Going to work and making a check is easy, and we use it as an excuse to act like we're tired. You know,
Hmm.
um, and so because I need this encouragement, and I need to say these things out loud so that I can recognize when I'm being a POS, like it inadvertently is helping other men. Like I get emails all the time. Guys are like, "Hey man, thank you so much." Um, but that's the thing, and I've talked about this in a couple of the episodes where I'm talking about quitting drinking, which is a freaking grind, baby. Woo, that's a tough thing to do. You talk about your weakness. That's God's conduit for showing His strength.
Hmm.
So if you never share your weakness, if you never sit with a group of men and go, I am garbage, I don't know what to do, I am struggling here, well, then there's no opportunity for God to prevail. You're just
Right,
hiding it. You know what I
right,
mean? Like if I
right.
got on here day one and was like, I'm going to quit drinking. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, yeah, it was easy. No
Hmm.
big deal. Everybody should be able to quit that. Well, then where's the strength come from? Well, that's just
Sure.
me. Yeah, it's garbage. That's bullcrap. Either you're
Yeah.
lying or you're
Hmm.
lying. You're just
Yeah,
lying.
yeah.
It's not a thing.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty simple there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's amazing to me. And it's funny, dude. Like when I watched your video, which I don't know that's not public, is it?
You know, I was praying about it, and I'm actually going to make it public just so people can see the heart over it. You know what? As I've been growing and this mission's been growing, it's funny, incredible support. Every once in a while, you get the peanut gallery,
Oh,
and
the keyboard
golly,
warrior.
every
Oh,
once in a while, yeah.
don't get
And
me started, bro.
no,
I
I don't
can't
want to.
stand
I
it.
don't want to go down a tangent, but I was like, yeah, I'm not the greatest cowboy. Yeah, I'm not, whatever. You can, but am I going to let that POS, you know what I mean, stop me from my mission, but
No.
does it hurt? Oh yeah, like self-confidence and all the rest of it. Sure, no doubt. It's it's like, do I put myself, like the jackpot, for example, right? All
Hmm.
my guys, including everybody that goes in there was like, I'm on display, right?
Oh
Basically,
yeah.
you're on display. And it's like, well, you know what? Am I gonna shy away from this opportunity? And one of the things that we talk about with the program is like the obstacle becomes the way. Like you need to look at it and reframe it in a way of, if I don't hit this turnover, which I just missed, I was so dang close, but if I don't hit it, what did I learn? What did I grow
Hmm.
from? And and what can I change to make it better next time,
Mm-hmm.
And if you do get it, so be it. We'll just raise the bar, You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, bottom line,
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I am going to make it public. That'll be interesting, to see if there's a peanut gallery that comes of
Dude,
it, but yeah,
go
we'll see
listen
what
to the
happens.
episode with me and Richard. Me and Richard talk about keyboard warriors almost weekly. Like we call each other and we're like telling each other the comments and because I used to get pissed, dude. I'm talking about, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And I tell some of the stories in that episode, but dude, and have you ever read The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt?
I haven't read the whole book, but I know exactly what you're
Yes.
getting at.
Hey,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
ain't the guy on the fence, big dog. Like if
That's
you're the
right.
guy on the fence, you can suck
Yep.
it. It's freaking
Yeah.
garbage. Those
Yeah. No
guys,
doubt.
man. And that's what I tell people all the time. People troll me on the internet on roping videos all the time. And I'm like, look, bro, dog, I got 500 hours of video you can go watch and you know exactly what I can do. So please,
Hmm.
please come. Please come to
Yeah.
anywhere I am and let's have a good time with it, because it's
No
just
doubt.
silliness. And you can't let those people, and half of it, I think half of the ones that are just bots are like just Satan, which is kind of a conspiracy theory. But I mean, it's just the enemy being the enemy, just
Yeah.
being a
Yeah.
douche, like
Yeah.
dude's just a piece of garbage. Hate that
Yeah.
guy. But it's
Yeah.
I was
Hmm.
watching that video, man, and I was standing in the garage because my kids were acting a complete fool in the house, and there's a part in it where you talk about being born to be a warrior. And I don't know who needs to hear this. And I don't know, there's probably a large majority of you that are like me that never thought of yourself in that way. And one thing I've come to realize over the last half a decade is that whether you perceive yourself as this or not, at some point in your life, the king, if he gets a hold of you, is going to require it out of you. He is going to require you to hone yourself to a degree that is wildly uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And very rarely in the Bible do you read about guys that had God's favor that did things they wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point.
It's you're getting called into the battlefield.
Hmm.
And if you want to raise sons and daughters of the king, if you want to have a loving, happy marriage, if you want to be what God is calling you to be, prepare your mind for great and terrible discomfort.
Hmm.
And that
Yeah.
was always my biggest issue with the church. Down here, Mike, I don't know if you spent any time in the South. Maybe
I'm
being,
actually from Alabama.
oh, yeah, roll tide.
Yeah. I
uh,
was born in Alabaster, just outside of Birmingham. That's where I was
okay.
born.
Yeah, I literally
Yeah.
live 45 minutes from there. So
Hmm.
the the way they preach down here, right, is well, and this is probably everywhere, is God's love and mercy and blah blah blah, right? And my biggest issue coming up, and my granddad was a preacher. My biggest issue coming up was like, dude, that ain't what the world's like, man. Like, how am I supposed to fight the enemy, like literally Satan, with love and turning the other cheek? And there is a portion of that, right? When it comes to non-believers, you love on these people because that's what you're asked to do. But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to go into a fist fight with Satan, and as a man, you will, with money, with your wife, over your wife, sexual immorality, like just being a total piece of garbage. Like all of these things are ways that the enemy attacks you and tries to destroy your marriage. You know what I mean? And if you're going
Hmm.
to go in and fight against your flesh and your physical nature to be garbage, you better be prepared
Hmm.
because you're going to lose. So if you're combating your sexual immorality, so to speak, that's a big one, right? If you're battling that by just loving yourself and not holding yourself to a standard or holding yourself accountable, you're going to lose. It's okay,
Sure.
man. Everybody makes mistakes. Well, sure. Yes, we're offered grace. But if you're ever going to win, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? If you're ever going to
Yeah.
beat it, you got to grit your freaking teeth, let God hone you and freaking go to him, you know? I
No
just,
doubt.
God,
No
dude,
doubt.
I literally got chills when you said that in that
Yeah.
video. I was like, oh my gosh, if this video is not public, I'm going to spend the whole hour convincing them. Like, I swear, because
That's
it's a
funny.
call
Yeah.
to action, bro. It's like not only were meant to do this, right? And you got up and went and did it, but there's so many men out there walking around as a shell version of themselves. They look in the mirror and they don't even feel like a man. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
just terrible. The enemy has done a really good job. He's good.
No, no doubt. No doubt. The whole thing about being a warrior too is, I could tell you what I think, and then also, even being in the team room with the guys, right? So what I think a warrior is mindset, heart, grit, try, right? What's in here is what's gonna you, this and this is gonna make the body keep going, right? You're gonna
Hmm.
keep putting miles on. But same thing in the team room. Like, I looked at it. I'd rather have the guy that wasn't the best shooter, wasn't the best, wasn't the fastest, you name it. But nobody's going to outwork that guy, right? And so, that type of mentality. And that's what I remember being a little kid. One of my dad's friends actually brought it up. I forgot what it was. I wasn't a look. It was later on. I was on leave from training or deployment, whatever it was, and I was running with a wheelbarrow full of like concrete blocks and things like that, just running around the neighborhood, at my parents' house. And my
God.
dad's friend's like, "What is wrong with him?" Like one of those, And he was like, "There's no days off. Like, you need to train. You need to keep going. Like, there's no such thing as I'm on vacation for 2 weeks, and I
Hmm.
can do this. One, I get kind of stir crazy. I'm like a very busy. I have to do things. Like I could sit at the kitchen table and kind of hang out, for only so long, and then I'm like, time to go work, do a project, do something. I've
Hmm.
I've always been like that. But the other side of that coin is, a warrior is always preparing, right? And so, one thing I've been trying to do better in my life, more recently, is there's a reason it says put on the armor of God, right? So if you're in a spiritual, if you know that this is the spiritual battle life, because you're right. I mean, you just turn around and it's like it's pulling at you. It's some way to break that relationship, that fellowship, and
Hmm.
the world is really good at doing it to men in general. I feel like. I mean, I can't speak of, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak of it, right?
Yeah.
So, but I, but I mean, for men, I know it's just so easy to chop these guys at the knees, and whatever it may be. So I think that preparedness, that training, you gotta create a routine and do it.
Hmm.
Like with the guys that come here trying to create a new routine. Um, opening the word every day, journaling, praying, kind of getting ready for your day. And now I'm going to go out and go conquer it and do the best I can to be the man that I'm called to be.
Hmm.
Um, if you fail, get out of the ditch, and the other thing I talk about is iron sharpens iron, right? So sometimes I can't get in my own way. I need another man I can call and rely on. My dad and I have an amazing relationship, so, you know,
Hmm.
I, I've called him numerous times, and sometimes you just need a little kick in the butt to get out of that ditch so you can get back on your path, you name it. But
Facts.
yeah,
Facts.
yeah.
A
Hmm.
lot of them. I require multiple
Me
multiple
too. Me too.
motivational speeches. And I
Yep,
pretty
no
much
doubt.
stay. I'm an open book. I stay talking. I just stay like visualizing and trying to figure out what the next move is. Whether it's 310 or my family or whatever. And Daryl's really that for me. Like, I can call that guy, and he is as brutal, and it is coming from a place of I love you, but we're not going to be a piece of garbage. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I do it for him, and it's required. You know, he called me a couple of months ago, and and was like, man, I can't put food on the table. He got in a financial bind and blah blah blah, and he was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. I mean, I can't afford groceries, and I just
Mm,
simply said, sounds like you're not working hard enough.
mm,
Now, mind you, at the time, I was running 310 and bartending at night to pay the bills.
mm,
And he was just had one job. So I was like, well, sounds like you need to go get a job bartending at night. I mean, let's go, baby. Get on board.
mm.
Let's row the boat. And so he started driving Uber Eats, which is hilarious. And because he's not, we waited tables together when we were in college. He was not very great at that, but he made enough to put food on the table. You know what I mean? And we talked
Oh
about it
yeah.
on our episode about the enemy's ability of forcing a man to believe that he's actually working hard when he's got so much more. Like, it's not
Hmm.
even close, baby. It's not even close.
Hmm.
And it's fun to watch a guy. It's fun. It's fun to watch a guy get hard to it and get good at it and like learn to manage his time better and love his family and still be able to work infinitely harder than he ever has before. And this comes over a long period of time of like great and terrible mourning of your old life. Like, I like to play
Hmm.
golf. I like to rope, I like to play golf, and I like to fish. And um those three things, like those are the three things, like if you caught me doing something, that's what it'd be. One of those three things.
Hmm.
And I don't do any of them anymore because I don't have time. I can't. And I tell my wife all the time, like, God dang it, dude, I don't ever get to do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and it's like God destroying those things in me that's like, um, it's a good thing. If you turn them loose and go, okay, um, no, I'm not getting to play golf or fish or rope. But what am I getting? You know, and if you,
Hmm.
what you talked about with those guys and those horses is the mentality of it, right? The way that your brain conceives what you're doing or perceives what you're doing, excuse me. Um, if you view it as negative, it's
Right.
negative.
Right.
If you view it as training, it's training and
No
you're
doubt.
getting better.
Yep.
So and that's a hard lesson, man. That's hard to get okay with. It's freaking
Hmm.
annoying sometimes, you know?
Oh, no doubt. Yep. I agree. Yeah. There's a saying, like I tell my little girl, right, and she's like, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't, or whatever the case," especially when she was younger. And I'm like, well, first off, you're a kid. You don't know a whole lot just yet, right? But even us, right? Like you're like, man, I can't do this. Like you said, like whatever it may be. And I always try to go back to like, I haven't learned it yet. Like I'm addicted to learning. I love to learn. Um, you mentioned the guy, Richard Boatwright, a
Mm-hmm.
little while ago. Like, so I subscribed to his videos years ago. Because I just saw like I saw a genuineness about it where he was showcasing his mistakes while doing whatever it was. He didn't edit them all out, And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I want to learn from somebody like that,
Mm-hmm.
where just go raw, just be you,
Mm-hmm.
and just go to work and do the best you can. But instead of saying like I can't do that, right? Like I can't start cults, be like I haven't learned how yet, and
Mm-hmm.
just that mentality is like, well, I'm gonna go find out how. I'm gonna go learn. I'm gonna go internship with somebody and I'm gonna get that knowledge. If I have to do it for free, I'm gonna do it, and it's just how bad do you want it,
Mm-hmm.
is mainly what it always comes back down to, you know.
I totally
So
agree with that. I
yeah.
totally agree with that. The mm, man, I tell you what. So um just for pretext, give a whatever your heart desires of your wreck, right? Of what
Mm.
happened. And then I don't know your wife, okay? I don't know her. But I have listened to your story, and This woman sounds like an absolute unit to me. Just a,
Oh, no doubt.
like you
Yeah.
want to talk about somebody who's in the trench with a fella. Um, I had a phone call this week, and this is where this question comes from. This guy got hurt on a colt. He tore his hamstring, which sounds terrible to me. Um, and he was having a hard time because he can't do nothing. You know, his wife's having to help him around, and I think a lot of men in your situation specifically would have a hard time with this. Um, but I just in listening to your story, Mike, the amount of grace and love that was required from your spouse in that time is unparalleled. Like just unbelievable to me. So speak to that a little bit. What is she like? What is that relationship like? Because that relationship, me and my wife's relationship, is the greatest, hands down, the greatest thing God ever did for me was give me my
Mhm.
wife. And I have a tattoo on my ring finger. It's Ecclesiastes 9:9. Can't see it because of the light, but it's
Mhm.
Ecclesiastes 9:9. My granddad told it to me. He married me and my wife. And he
Mhm.
said, my favorite Bible verse is Ecclesiastes 9:9. And I said, well, what's it say? He said, your wife is a gift from God for all of your miserable days on earth. I was
Mhm.
like, I'm getting that tattooed somewhere. Anyways,
Yeah.
so speak to that a little bit. What's it like
Yeah.
having a
Man, I don't even know where to start on that one. With the accident, so uh, so we've been married now 17 years. She's kind of been there and seen it all, as far as like being a military spouse, right? So she grew up in a household that well, maybe I won't go down that far, but she just kind of grew up where she wasn't exposed to a lot of this stuff as well. Like,
mm-hmm,
I go on a deployment or go do something, and guess what? You need to pack up the house, go find a new place to live that we've never been, and get this all coordinated and moved. Not many people do that, let alone a military spouse, right? So
mm-hmm,
it builds a lot of resiliency and in these spouses. What happened for me and getting hurt was life changing. But not only that, but like she was also going through her own stuff. We lost our second baby, and she still needed to go, and she still had to get surgeries done during that time frame. And
good night.
we lived out in, we didn't have any family near us, right? We lived on just off a military base in Yuma, Arizona, and so I'm in the hospital laying in the bed. I mean, I can't hardly move. Um, and so, you know, she didn't have she didn't have a big support system. It's not like living at home where like somebody could watch our little one, who was two or three at the time
Mm-hmm,
and do that. So I mean, my folks would fly out. They knew we needed help. Um they didn't even allow us to like ask. They just knew they needed to help and serve. Like, so they burned through savings, to come out and
mm-hmm.
help her, and they did. Like nobody offered at one point. She had to go get a surgery in LA and in California, and we were living in Arizona. And they flew out, drove her to the hospital, stay there, for the appointment, picked her up, got a hotel room, you name it. So she was dealing with a lot of stuff on her own, and I wasn't there to be a support. And
Well, how
and
could you be?
yeah, I mean, but it's kind of shame. Like I look back with a lot of shame too. So what happened to me? I was in a free fall accident as an instructor teaching military free fall operations, and going to save a guy. I went to pull his chute. Long story short, I wound up going through terminal velocity through 1,500 feet, which you saw was a helmet cam of one of my jumps prior to that,
Mm-hmm,
and so you got to fly within arm's distance of the student at all times. When I went to pull my chute, I had a malfunction in mine, and my reserve came out at the same time my main deployed, and the two tangled and it downplaned. So basically, the parachutes are wings, and they were fighting each other. So I
Mm-hmm.
had an initial slowdown, but I wound up hitting the ground a split second later at 119 miles an hour is how fast I hit the ground. And so um, I remember that shoot, deploying. I realized, man, I was in trouble. I said, God, please spare my life. Literally a second later, couldn't even do anything to fix it. It was just so fast. And then bounced off the earth, practically. It shattered. It broke my L345. Shattered. Broke my pelvis in half. Both my legs were completely had to be reconstructed. I had 8 brain bleeds. I mean, I was a mess. They put me in a coma, life flighted me. I spent a year in hospitals. I went to different hospitals as an inpatient, and then about a year as an outpatient. Took me 8 months to walk with a walker, just to take a few steps. About
Mm-hmm.
7, 8 months, somewhere in that range. And then, so while I'm going through that, my wife has got a two. Brielle was 2 or 3 at the time, and she's you know come to the hospital. I'm just angry. I mean, it's a tough situation. Like, I look back on it, wish I handled it better, emotionally, that time frame. But you want to talk about a rock? I mean, that woman, you know through you take the best years of your lives, your 20s and 30s, right, type thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's dealing with all this. I mean, she could have left me at any point in time. I mean, I know other people's wives that have left for much less things, and while we're in an outpatient process, the VA's answer was a pill for everything back then.
Mm-hmm.
A pill to cover the pain, pill to wake up, pill to go to sleep. I mean, I walked out of there with literally 2 huge brown bags of narcotics, like totally uh, unregulated in a way, right? My whole mentality was, when I got up, like when I woke up in that hospital bed, and the main doctor from the hospital came out and was like, "Hey, you're going to be okay." He actually recited a verse to me, really wild, prayed over me, and he's like, "What
The
can I get
doctor?
you?" The doctor did. It was incredible. God
What?
sent this guy to for me. He was the main surgeon out of that hospital. Dr. Mankin was his name. I gotta look him up one of these days, just to let him know like where I am now, type thing. But he's like, "Hey, what can I get you?" And I was like, "Can you get me some rubber bands so I could tie it to the bed and I can like still work out a little bit, And he yelled down the hall to the nurse. He's like, "Hey, get this guy some weights." It was just hilarious. But like my mentality was, I'm gonna get back to the teams. Like, I didn't realize how bad I was at the time. All I
Mm-hmm.
knew is I'm gonna get back to the teams. So um, taking those painkillers, I didn't grow up that way, but man, my body got addicted to it bad,
Mm-hmm.
really bad, to the point where, you know, my dad actually was like, we got to get off this. This isn't working. This is not the man I raised, like saw it. Talk about that accountability, right?
Damn.
And we
What
did.
a what
I
a savage. Dude.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's rare.
Quick.
That's
It's
rare.
rare. Yep. Quick cold turkey. Put myself in the ER twice, talked to some friends. I was like, "Hey, I don't know he's like, Mike, you're just going through withdrawal. You just got to get through it." So I'm going through withdrawal from painkillers because I just decided we're not doing it. Couldn't be more miserable in life. Like, how can you have this much pain 24/7? We were in a small hotel room with my 2-year old, and my wife was caring for me, taking care of her, dealing with all this. And like I said, to this, like, she had every right to leave me. Like, I was a monster, at that point in time. Um, and then today, I mean, like, we moved out to Colorado, and we were gonna have a builder build our place, and we built this facility out here, a big training facility, and you see the leather shop behind us and everything else, and the builder raised the price. We're in the process of adopting at the time. We wanted to adopt because we can't have more kids, and the builder's like, hey, we're going to take away the fourth bedroom and the price is going to be this much more. And I was like, damn. I was like, I always went with the mission men and me in that order in my life. Like, if we build this nice house, I can't afford to build the barn and the training facility for the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And I called her up. She was back in Virginia because I was just getting out of Walter Reed. And I'm in Colorado standing on this raw piece of land. And, we had this whole plan of what we're going to do. I told her what happened. I said, hey, honey, I was like, how about we build an apartment off the barn? We'll live in that. That's where we'll house the guys when they come out in the program down the road. We'll save some more money and we'll build a house. That way the guys can live on the property while they go through the program. I don't know how, like, God put this woman in my life. Like, yeah, it's just insane. She's like, oh, I'm going to have a beautiful house, and she's like, I've been dragging her for the last 20 years all over the country and
Mm-hmm.
deployments and doing everything on your own, and then I tell her this, hey, we're not going to have a house. We're going to live in an apartment that I'm going to build a lean-to off the barn. It's nice, it's really nice. But I said, we're not going to do a house. We're going to do it later on. Who knew the economy was going to go to crap, and all the rest
Yeah.
of it. So we didn't build the house yet, but she agreed to it. I said, honey, it's like, God put this on our hearts. Like, we have to serve. We have to do this. We can't continue the mission if we put ourselves in front of it. And she
Mm-hmm.
agreed. I mean, God put that woman in my
That's
life for a
unbelievable.
reason. Yeah. Yeah.
God, that's
So,
unbelievable.
yeah, she's a fiery Italian. We definitely have our moments, but man, God put her in my life for a reason. So
That's
she's a good
amazing.
woman. Good woman.
Before the jump, like the routine jump, were you a believer?
I was. Yeah. I grew up being a believer. My faith was definitely what saved my life. Horses saved my life after, those combination of that. But there's no doubt in my mind that God saved my life. No doubt. So faith was always very important. My dad's actually a minister. Back in the day, he was a blue collar, iron worker and a minister. I became full-time ministry, I don't know, 40 years ago or something to that effect. But,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was always important, and I've had some very tough trials, like proving my faith later on in life. But, um, I always came back to it knowing that this is it. Like, there's no healing than through Christ. This is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I've had I've had moments, even like on a first appointment without getting too much into it, just doing my job, I was like, damn, I took somebody's life, like right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like how could God forgive me? And
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while to forgive myself, and then talking about it's like, well, is that the truth or is that a lie? You were doing your job. And again, it's just that it's that adversary, like putting those doubts in your mind to skew you from the walk, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to listen to? You got to put that stuff away. And what is the truth? And so faith has always been very important. It's what's kept us married, this long. It's what my daughter, I mean, I know she loves God, she just what a great heart, and what a great testimony, to see her, with the heart that she has and without God being in the center of whatever you're doing, family, work, life,
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't work, bottom line. And when I've tried to do it on my own, golly, it fails miserably,
Oh, it's
so
so bad.
it fails
Oh, it's
miserably.
so bad.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
usually doing it God's way, man, like Daryl says all the time, God's perfect timing. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's such a cliche, but like, and I'm the kind, and I have a sneaking suspicion you're probably exactly the same way. It's like when you see something and you're like, I can do that. It's
Hmm.
like full bore, son. Freaking turn the hat
Sure,
around backwards and get after it. You know what I mean?
no
And
doubt.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of guys that that have no problem working hard run into this same problem. Is like, well, I'll just work hard till I get her done. And typically God's got a way better, easier way to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
Hmm.
if I'd have just waited, you know. Oh my gosh, dude, that is nuts. That's a that deal there, man. And I think about, you know, I don't even have the ability to comprehend that type of suffering. You know what I'm saying? Um, but one thing that I can deeply appreciate right there is your father stepping in as a father and saying, "Get your shit right. Get it
Hmm.
right. This ain't working." And you know what? That dude right there, that's probably the last thing on earth he wanted to say to his absolutely demolished and broken son.
Oh, probably, no doubt. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can give a guy, you like, I could sit there and look at you and go, "Boy, I'd be eating them candies too." You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, I'd be wearing
Hmm.
them things out if I was busted up like you. That's really holding a fella accountable on that deal. That's hard to do.
Oh, yeah. 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 I never really got into it with him about that. I've talked about that. It was so memorable for me. My mind was gone. Like those pills were creating a monster. Like it wasn't me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was selfish. It was all about numbing the pain as best I can so I can go back to being a Green Beret. And
Mm-hmm.
but in the end, but as that was happening, I look at pictures and I just look back on with shame, like great shame. Like, damn, I was that bad. I was just a miserable person. And yeah, I was sitting in a wheelchair, when he grabbed me by the collar. I mean, but that's exactly what a good father should do.
Agreed. It's the
Exactly what he
hard
should do.
thing, dude. It's the hard thing. That's what we're talking about when we talk about getting off the couch or having those deep emotional conversations with your wife. That's the hard part. That's the hard thing. The thing that you don't want to do is what God is asking you to do. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
It, yeah.
Like, oh, it's brutal. Like, my heart breaks for the guy just because I hope that I have the strength to do that one day for my sons, to sit down
Yeah.
and go, "Hey, listen," and to build a relationship, to spend enough time in my life to build a relationship with these young men that when that conversation comes, the words mean something.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
My
hard.
parents, my dad, both my parents, my dad, what a lesson, of learning. He's like, you better do what you say. Like he instilled that in me from a really early age, especially teaching Brielle, my daughter. He's like, be careful. He's like, you say you're going to do a punishment. Well, now I got to follow through. And I've done it. I've done it. And I've actually talked to her why I was doing it. And I said, I've gone too far, whatever it was, like
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have the, whatever it may be, and I said, I know I, I'm going too far, but I said it. So I have to follow through,
Mm-hmm.
with it because you need to know if I say it, I mean it,
Yep.
and I think for her, for me as a child with him, but for her, man, I think it sinks. Like I was just saying, like 13-year-old moments, right? Sarah and I, we sat down, initially, it's like going back to training horses, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
initially, like, man, fired up, emotion, like she's at school and I'm like, man, when she gets home, minute she gets home, I got that phone, and it's done, like type thing. And
Mm-hmm.
just fired up, like, oh, that's what we're gonna do. Sat down, it's like, God, what do I say? And what came out was a whole lot different. And it was more of, this is why. This is why we're doing this. Like, you put
Mm-hmm.
something in your head and this is what's coming out right now. Like, this sassiness is not acceptable here. We're nipping in the butt right now. And this is
Mm-hmm.
why, and we sat down and just, man, and I said, like, this is what we're doing, like, she knows, like, all right, don't test it.
Yeah.
If we say it, we're doing it. So be careful what you say, and I hate it when parents are like, oh, I'm going to kill you, if you do that. Well, no, you're not. So why make these empty promises? Why make these empty threats? Now your kid's going to be like, whatever you say, you're not going to really do. Right.
Yes.
That's what, that was one of the lessons my dad broke to
Self-discipline,
me.
dude.
You
It's
better
in
watch what you
here.
say.
It's
Yep.
self-discipline. And I'm not gonna
No
lie,
doubt.
dude. There's been multiple times where I'm like, hey, I'm like, Wiley, if you do that again, I'm gonna wear you out.
Yeah.
And then he does it again. And as soon as he does it, I'm like, God dang it.
Yeah.
Why,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah.
Just take the threat, and then you got to
Yeah.
go do it. You're like, all right,
No
well,
doubt.
then he's screaming and carrying on. You're like, dude, man, we talked about it, but this is the law, man. You got to do what
Mm.
I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, or I'm going to do what I say. And once they figure that out, it's like your daughter. There's no testing it. At 13, I'm
Mm.
not going to be looking for any testing. You know what I'm saying? Like if I say
Yeah.
he ought to
No doubt.
know by then, well, yeah, you're right. Gosh dang it,
You
man, I
know,
hate it. I hate getting on the one. Ugh.
oh yeah. But it's like colts, right? Like you treat a young horse like he's an older horse. Like you treat him like he's a horse. You don't treat him like he's this cute little baby,
Mm-mm.
and I see it all the time. Like, you get through with the lessons real quick and early on. And man, that's a fine horse, later
Mm-hmm.
on. You treat that thing like it's a China doll and, you
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, you name it, you know where I'm getting
Oh,
at.
Skittles.
And
You treat it like a Skittles. No, come here,
yeah,
Skittles. Let me get you a treat.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no. No.
no, but I always say to the guys though, you could be firm, but you got to be fair,
Mm-hmm.
So like even when she was coming home, having a horse just acting up and being a fool is
Mm-hmm.
probably not the time to get on and really get to a correction. Like sometimes you do need to be in the right state yourself to, hey,
Oh,
we're going to get on and we're going
facts.
to accomplish this versus I'm going to get on and I'm going to beat your ass, right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
usually turns out really bad. Like it's a
Yeah.
really
No
bad
doubt.
deal.
No
It's a
doubt.
really bad
So,
deal. Do
yeah,
y'all do you deal with any fear in those guys around the horses?
I do. I do actually. We had a guy this class that was so timid, and I was like, you got to let go of those reins and give that horse some freedom. Like
Mm-hmm.
he needs freedom, and you need to trust, and sometimes you just need to get after it, and he was seeing red. I'm not gonna name who it was. You saw him at the clinic,
Mm-hmm.
um, but he was redlined. I used to see it as an instructor. Like you get back down, you do a jump recall with the guy, be like, hey, tell me about your jump. He's like, I don't know. I just jumped out of the plane and I landed. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Yeah. Like totally tunnel visioned, like,
Yeah.
and so it's the same thing. Sometimes you get on these horses, right? And we're not riding dude horses. We're not riding deadheads. Like we ride cow
The
horses,
freaking
and
dude string.
yep. And and I'm like, hey, you give that smooch, give that thing a bump and lope out, and that thing starts to go,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden the clamming, comes up. And so I did. This guy was having a tough time, and man, I rode next to him, just like I held his arm, was like, let's go, cowboy up, push, go.
Yeah.
Let's move out, and just did it with him. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need a Sherper to take a rock out of your bag,
Mm-hmm.
and lighten the load and go through the pain with you and break through that barrier. Cause I know I got it, you got it in you.
Yeah.
We're just gonna get it out. Let's get out of your own way and get through
Mm-hmm.
it. So yeah, fear is a weird thing for me. Like I know it's healthy. I got a weird unhealthy version of fear. If it scares me, I do it on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Obviously, Mike.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, bro.
But
Golly. It's
yeah,
funny,
yeah.
man.
So
The only
yeah,
reason I ask is so you're taking guys, man, like you're taking guys who have done the things of nightmares. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that normal people would never do. These guys did for a living. Okay.
Mhm.
And then you take them and they come out of this brokenness of leaving the military and their purpose and all these things. And then you start putting them on these animals, which for us, for guys who have done it a lot, is not a scary thing, right? Because we
Right.
know. But I'll tell you this, I had this horse and he totally transformed my mind towards fear. He's a gelding. He came from the Creek Plantation where Richard worked. Richard actually
Okay.
started him. And
Huh.
this horse was an absolute predator.
Hmm.
Like when he was a stud colt, you couldn't go in the stall with him. I mean, absolute predator. And so we got him as severance pay from the ranch that we worked at. And Dad restarted him because we hadn't messed with him in like a year or two or whatever. And so he restarts this horse and he cuts him to me, and I take him to Wyoming with me. And I ride him all through Wyoming. He does incredible. Never bucked, never offered to buck. He bucked one time when we were kind of getting him ready for Wyoming, and then we brought him home. He did incredible. 3 weeks out there, riding, roping, the whole nine. We brought him home, and I'm loping circles in the arena, and he fell with me. And it was one of those where, like, you know, getting bucked off can hurt. It doesn't always hurt, but it can hurt pretty bad. But this was one of those
Yeah.
where he went down on the front and, like, whiplashed me face first into the ground. And that
Yeah.
had
I've
never
been there.
happened to me before. And I was like, God dang it, dude. Like, I can't breathe now. Like, I'm rolling around, you know?
Mhm.
And that kind of got me a little spooked. You know, I was like, okay, now I didn't like that. I'd never had that happen
Mhm.
before. I didn't like that at all. And then we went to a roping. And I
Mhm.
was in a pro-am with these two dudes' wives. And I was the pro. And they kind of got in a pickle. And I just barreled off in there to save the day. Reached down there for a heel shot. And old Seabiscuit goes to bucking and bucked me off in front of all these people. And
Mhm.
then that tower of fear got a little bigger.
Mhm.
And it grew into this thing where, like, I got so anxious every time I got on this stupid horse. Like, it was
Mhm.
controlling my life. And I had to ride him. He was my horse. He was the only horse that I took anywhere. You know, so everywhere we went, I rode this jug-headed idiot, and he would always, like, pull a knife on me. Like he'd do something right in the middle of me roping to make me look stupid or buck me off at a Brandon, you know. And he ends up being like 6 years old, and he's freaking nice, dude. Like,
Mhm.
he's a nice horse. Oh, and so I got to this spot where, and this went on for years. Like, I literally got a whole sleeve tattoo dedicated to the fear, like
Mhm.
conquering this fear with God on this horse. And we get to Wyoming for the third year we've gone to Wyoming, and every time I've gotten on this horse for 2.5, 3 years, I was just petrified, like literally. And he knew, and I knew, and so he would react. He was reacting to me being
Mhm.
like, I
Yep.
would act scared to go do something because I knew that he was going to react in a certain way, and he'd prove me right every time.
No doubt. Yep.
So our first ride, our first gather in Wyoming, we're in this like 10,000 acre pasture, and he was real herd sour. And Dad was probably 250 yards away from me. And in Wyoming, I'm sure that they're everywhere, but we called them pig trails. It's just where the cattle walk. It's just beat down.
Sure.
And I finally, there was this switch that I flipped in my brain where I was like, okay, if you're going to buck me off anyway, we're gonna come to some terms right here. We're gonna know, you're
Mhm.
gonna know that I know what you're gonna do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
he's whinnying and squealing. He sounds like a freaking T-Rex. It's not like that cute little,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? He's like, ah, like he's
Yeah.
just, oh, it's terrible. So he's freaking squealing and freaking moving all over the place. And we had about 2 miles back to the trailer. And I was like, all right. I stuck him on that pig trail, and I disciplined myself. And I said out loud to the horse, which sounds crazy now, but it was a moment, you know. So I put him on that pig trail, and I was like, if you step off of this pig trail, I'm going to spur your freaking guts out. And what I didn't have with this horse was any respect. He did not respect me because
Mhm.
he knew I was scared of him. and I was
Hmm.
tiptoeing around. I was treating them like a Skittles. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'd been cowboying for freaking a long time at this point. I mean, I rode tons of horses, but this one had my
Yeah.
number. And so I put him on that daggum pig trail, son. And every single time he stepped off of it, I just reached out there with every ounce of 405-pound deadlift I had and stuck it in him. Just wham! Do not get off the
Hmm.
trail.
Yeah.
Unemotional, not
Yeah.
angry, just matter of fact. You get your on that trail and don't come off of it. So the first 3 times we had ourselves a little fist fight. You know what I mean? Because he squirts out of there like, what in the world was that? You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I bet up to this point, I'd never touched him with my spurs
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
didn't need it. You know what I mean? Like he needed it, but I was too scared to give it to him. And so every
Sure.
time he came off that pig trail, I gave him the iron. Wham, wham. I just put him in it, lots and lots of pressure, release on the trail. And by
Sure.
about halfway back to that trailer, Bro Dog is head down, walking on that pig trail, and turned
Yeah.
in to, quite frankly, the best horse I had in my string all summer long. But that
Mm.
fear completely corrupted my ability to be a horseman.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
too scared to ask anything of this horse. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was
Sure.
crazy. It was, and I look at those guys that you bring to that deal, and it's funny because almost every military guy I've been around, there was one moment in the clinic, everybody, where I had a calf roped. Okay. I had healed it. Mike got off to do groundwork, and then Charlie was in the military too, correct?
No, Charlie wasn't actually. He just comes out. His wife's actually currently in the military. He comes out to help. He just loves
Okay.
this. Yeah.
See, he's
Yeah.
an instructor. So
Yeah.
Charlie, Mike's down there doing groundwork. Charlie's the head man. He had roped the calf. Well, the only people holding the calf would be me and Charlie, right? Well, Charlie
Mhm.
decides he's going to help with some groundwork, which means he hadn't gone to the horn anymore. So
Right.
Mike
Yeah.
ends up bulldogging this calf, dude. And it's like every military guy in the room is like running to help. I'm like, this is every military experience I've ever had with cattle. This is day one, week one stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
just hold them with our horses, guys, and we're good. But you're taking these absolute, like the essence of a predator. That's what these guys
Mhm.
are. Like they're the highest peak of special forces operation military guys. And then you're re-putting them into situations that are scary for them, which is
Mhm.
insane that they even
Mhm.
want to do that in the first place. But then that they're willing to learn how to do it the way that we would teach it.
No
Um,
doubt.
it, it's baffling to me.
Yeah.
It's just in them to do something scary. It's just like
Yeah.
this is what I like to do is be scared. You know what I mean? It's like I
Yeah.
just don't
Run
understand
to
it.
the fire. Do you ever one of my favorite books growing up, Wild at Heart, John
Oh
Elridge.
yeah.
Great book, great book. There's a quote in there. It's one of my favorites, and I'm probably gonna butcher it right now, but it's like you got to do what is it? Do what makes you feel alive, right? The world needs more people like that, and it's probably butchered that quote a little bit, but bottom line is, man, this is real. Like this makes you feel alive, like doing this work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So something's going on. Everybody, just like you said, like they run to that danger, like I'm gonna help, be a
Mm-hmm.
part of it. So yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, it's so easy, in one way because guys have a higher level that they can take. That fear level is a little higher than I would say most, but they're coachable. Like they want to learn. Like
Even
they
in it, in their fear,
they
they're
love it.
coachable, which
Yeah.
is rare. That's not
Yeah.
normal. Most people get scared and can't do anything. They're just like
Hmm.
froze. But these guys
Sure.
are like, you can, even when they're learning to feed rope,
Hmm.
like they're learning to feed rope and that hand's burning, boy, that poly's getting hot. And you can see them kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Yeah.
hot, but I'm going to get back in there. You know what I mean? And that it's just crazy to me. And really the biggest thing I love about teaching military people is they can take shit like nobody else. Like you can hack on a guy and he
Yeah.
loves it. he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, 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 I get it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Bring it on. Bring it on. Yep.
Not everybody's like that. So, and I'm
Hmm.
kind of bad about hacking on a guy, dude. Like, I think it's funny and it keeps it fun. Like, but you're taking a guy that is new to something. He's unconsciously incompetent. He has no clue what he doesn't know.
Sure.
You take that dude out of those chinks and out of that cowboy hat, and you put him in a military uniform with a sniper rifle, and he's the nastiest son of a gun you've ever met in your life. And that's intimidating for me. I'm like, I am hacking on this guy for not knowing how to feed rope, and he could literally
Yeah.
kill
Yeah.
me in like 40 different ways.
It's funny.
This is a bad decision for me. You know, I shouldn't be doing this, but
Yeah.
those
No.
guys are so fun to be around because
Yeah.
they're so coachable and so teachable. Is that a military thing? You think the military teaches you how to be that way?
I think it's a big part of it, like so I structured my program based off of some of my special forces training, right? And so like you probably saw it. Probably that one moment there was that guy that myself and I can't Ty, I think Ty was my partner in that jackpot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
We had we hadn't healed. We're about to pop and our beginner our warrior's about to rope, right? And there got to a point somewhere in that iteration there, like it was like past that red line. So I call it, it's the green, yellow, red line, right? So he was way past that red line, hyperventilating a little bit, tunnel vision. You could see it, like the wheels aren't turning, right? Because he's like, I don't know what to do, and it's too fast, whatever the case may be, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about that it's in, you don't know what you don't know, right? So that level of panic kind of gets there. And then I just locked him that down. He was like, pointed at him, look at me. Don't listen to the peanut gallery, back there, saying 30 seconds. Don't worry about it. I was like, take a deep breath and move out. Do what you need to do. You know what to do, and just kind of talk him through it. Right. I think that's a big thing. Like I remember training needs to be harder than the real deal. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
that way, when you hit the real deal, you fall back to your training and breathing and doing stress shoots, like for example, like you just get to exhaustion, you get to that line, and then you got to reach out and you got to start plugging away,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to bring yourself back down and regulate is a skill. And I think we do a really good job in the military teaching that skill. And then these guys are able to pick that right back up and apply it to what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Because roping steers and things are moving fast, ropes are getting under horse, it gets real high anxiety, for some of these guys. Am I doing the right thing? Just trying
Mm-hmm.
to keep plugging away. It's like, hey, go back to the basics, like breathe, look, focus, move out, go, act. Don't
Mm-hmm.
just sit there and be paralyzed, and
Didn't he
yeah, so
rope
I
it?
think that he did. I was screaming. I was so happy. He
That was
did. He wrote
Kit,
it.
wasn't it? It was Kit,
It
wasn't it?
was. It was
That
Kit.
dude, man.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
so
that was
cool.
so awesome.
It was so
Dude,
awesome.
there's nothing better, man, than taking guys like that and watching them get a little success. It is such a
Oh, no
special
doubt.
thing.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about never been horseback 5 days before this, and then next that calf and that thing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It was so
so
awesome.
so awesome. That's a great deal. So as far as reaching out, as far as people reaching out to you, do you have people apply? Like, where can people apply if you're getting out of the
Yeah.
military and you want to experience this? Where can they apply at?
Probably the best way is just go to our website, warriormissionranch.com. I've had people reach out on social, like Instagram, and hit us up. They saw something, but reaching out, there's a, contact page for the warriors that want to apply. They can reach out, and then we send out the applications as we get ready for the year in the spring and summer. And so
Mhm.
the best way to probably do it is shoot us that email on the website, warriormissionranch.com.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know if y'all pre-selected people coming out or how that worked. Um, that's really cool, man. So you got the guys coming back out in what, 2 weeks? Y'all are going to Oklahoma?
We are. Yeah, we'll be working on branding in Oklahoma over that Memorial Day weekend timeframe. And
Mhm.
That's going to be awesome. We're going to a new place up in northern Colorado. We'll be up there with the other class, and then we'll be in New Mexico later on in the year. So we kind of get a little traveling in, which is awesome, and get some real world experience with these guys, and yeah, we'll just keep plugging away. But we're small, like I said, God put this on my heart to do and serve, and there's so many other great organizations out there. I really not a huge fan of the nonprofit world in general, but
Mm-hmm.
there's such a need out there, and instead of competing, like, man, just help somebody, you know what I mean? Like pick up the torch, pick up the sword, and you help one person, it's worth it, and you
Mm-hmm.
just keep plugging away, so. But yeah, I think if a guy would be interested, reaching out, website or social media is probably the best way to get a hold of us.
Where's your favorite place to cowboy?
New Mexico. uh
Really?
yeah, I was gonna say West Texas was amazing. um I got to do a lot of the fall spring works out in West Texas, and that was kind of early on, and then
Mm-hmm.
my skills weren't, they weren't the hired cowboys that were on that ranch. Like, man, they could run circles around me. So I was like, I'm just gonna wake up early and outwork them all, and it which is a hard thing to do, because
That is a hard thing to do.
outworking a cowboy, like, I damn near killed myself, but it caught the eye. It caught the eye of that foreman. He's like, "Hey, come on over here. I'm gonna teach you this. Come on over here."
Mm-hmm.
It's that work ethic in my mind, and so I had some really good mentors along the way, really good mentors. But yeah, it's that country out in New Mexico, man. That's some tough country, out there, and that ranch that we go and help is the family is just amazing,
Mm-hmm.
So it's the people. It's really, for me, it was the people. Like, I've been to
Mm-hmm.
some beautiful places in Montana, but it's who you work with that really makes it, enjoyable.
Agreed.
So
That's a
yeah,
fact. They can make or break it.
mhm,
It doesn't matter how pretty that mountain is.
yeah,
It doesn't.
yeah.
It does not matter. Well, that's awesome, man. Mike, you got anything else for the people listening?
No, I don't. Thanks for the time, and just listen to me ramble for a few minutes here. No, I really enjoy this, Dalton. Thanks so much for letting me share a little bit, and it means a lot to me. Thank you for what you're doing, and putting yourself out there. It's not easy, and just kind of being raw about it. It's not an easy thing. So thanks for doing what you do, and please keep it up. And yeah, if anybody wants to come out as a veteran, wants to be a part of it, I'd be happy to talk with a guy. Even if a guy was struggling in some way, if there's something I could do. I mean, that's where my heart is to
Mm-hmm.
serve. So yeah, thanks, brother. Thank you so much.
Hey, you bet, man. It's an amazing story and it needs to be shared. It's sharing our weakness and allowing God to show his strength is a gift. And it doesn't feel good all the time. But that's what we're here for. So that's it.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. Thanks for coming on. Guys, as always, if you need to reach out to me, Dalton at 310edu.com, please reach out, Facebook Messenger. I check those things regularly. So if you need something from me, hit me up. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.
sounds great. Thanks.
You bet, man.